Hi there. So happy to have you along with us. I'm Lou Ann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman. You know, a good financial advisor is going to help you reach your retirement goals. A poor advisor, on the other hand, can hold you back. So you might say that the wrong financial advice is actually worse than going it alone in retirement. Eric, do you think that's fair to say?
Well, it kind of depends on what the advice you're getting, right? So some might be better, and some might not be so good. My problem with my own industry is there's a lot of people that are actually just investment managers. So their goal is to take your pot of money and help grow it. There's no conversations about how to take the money out. There's no real conversations of how to spend the money, which bucket of money. Do you spend your 401k and IRA assets first? Do you spend your savings account? Do you spend your regular investment dollars, your Roth money? Lots of times there's zero mention of that part, and all that has a monstrous effect on your lifetime taxes. And so that has to be a something you talk about. But yeah, I'd say a lot of people, probably, I don't know, if I had to guess, about 70-80% of the people in my business don't do that, which is fine if you're 20 to 50,
right?
But if you're late 50s, 60s, and 70s, that's not what you need anymore.
Right. And I think that's the problem. You get my age and then we don't know. We're not taught what to do. All along, we're taught to save, save, save. And then, like you pointed out, we don't know from where to take the money, and then taxes we're going to get hit with taxes on that. So we'll get into that more. I want you to tell us how can people tell if their advisor isn't right for them?
Well, a couple things. If they're mostly just doing all commission type stuff, so it's always insurance-based products or it's long-term kind of fixed things that are investments, lots of times if they're just doing it all commission-based, if they have the term registered representative, that means they have to take commissions first. They don't have that standard of care, that fiduciary standard of care to do what's in your best interest. So really what you want to do is make sure you're working with somebody who's a registered investment advisor, somebody who has to, have that standard of care that's, in your best interest. But, it's kind of also like going to, a pediatrician, right? Pediatrician could theoretically still help you, but,
At my age.
it might look a little weird because you'll be like twice the height of most of the patients. And, and you get the lollipop, which is cool, but
maybe a sticker.
Yeah, maybe a sticker or something like that. So that part's kind of fun still, but yeah, it's probably not really the best thing for you today, right? And so same thing there is you want to have somebody who's focused on retirement. I just recently was talking with Lisa and Todd and we were going through and they just recently retired. He used to have high income. Now he's living on savings and some other stuff initially. And we were it was towards the end of the year and when we met and we were talking about their planning and they should be doing a Roth conversion and their financial advisor never mentioned anything about taxes, never looked at their tax return. Then between appointments, the next one we talked and they said, well, yeah, he said he's just starting to use some sort of tax program. He's just learning it. And it's like, I don't think I want somebody learning on me. No. You only retire once. You don't want to be their it's like the student driver. You don't want to have a student tax person sticker to look at. So, so that's where it's a sign. And it was funny because she actually literally said, she's like, yeah, maybe he's not the advisor we need now. Maybe he's not doing this. It's like, yeah, no, that's very accurate. So, right. And that happens, right? It's just like anything in life, right? There's some times where you use one type of person and then other times you want to have somebody else. So, it does happen. And, that's why we specialize only in retirement. We don't have any clients in their, 20s to 40s. The only ones we usually have are the ones who are the adult kids of our clients.
Yeah.
So, that's why we do that specialty because the withdrawing that money is totally different, totally,
Yeah.
a whole new world versus, when you're putting it away, like you were saying, you were always told to put it in. When you
Yeah.
start taking it out, you got to have some specialties there. You have to have somebody who's talking about everything, when and how to structure that.
Right, right. So definitely what you explained right there is a warning sign that you might need a new advisor. And like you said, if your advisor is only focusing on investing, then you might need somebody different to help you figure this out. So anything else any other warning signs?
It could be, if they're asking you about, Social Security, or if they're just giving you like just the patent answer of, oh, wait till longer, you get more Social Security dollars. Well, which one gives you the more net worth at age 80 or age 90?
Yeah.
That's the correct answer. It's not who gets more Social Security dollars. It's who gets more actual wealth.
Yeah.
And sometimes and often that means starting actually earlier. So, there's things like that. If they don't know healthcare, if they don't know Medicare, there things like that. They might know something about it, but if they have to keep asking somebody, or they have to go keep looking that up or get back to you a lot, once or twice get back to you. But if it's several times, that might be something like, okay, well, maybe I should just go talk to AI and might do better at this point.
Yeah.
So that's when you probably don't need to be, working with that person. Probably
That's when they need to call you.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
And I'm going to give that phone number out too, because if you're like these people that are, people that we're talking about that are just kind of lost and you're going, don't refer to AI because you need personalized attention.
Yeah, exactly.
And Eric and his team can help you get that at Heckman Financial. So our phone number to call or text, if you text visit 800-454-1184. That's the phone number. Call or text the word visit, or you can text the word toolbox to get this digital toolbox. Eric, explain that to us, please.
Yeah. So the digital toolbox is, basically it's a lot of quick reads, really fast downloads. I'm all about education. So it's got stuff like, will my money last as long as I do? The Social Security timing decision, like I just mentioned. Are you paying too much taxes in retirement? Got a copy of my book, Worry Less Wealth. And, you can also set a time to talk with us. There's a link there to book a time right then.
And I want to mention, too, that our show is available on podcasts where you get your podcast. It comes out every Tuesday morning, okay? So, wherever you listen to it on your podcast, on YouTube or whatever, just search for the name of our show, Wealth Creator Radio. And so we're so happy to have you along with us. Thank you for spending time with us today. And, there's a lot to consider, like we're talking about when it comes to financial planning for retirement. Eric, I want to know, is there a specific issue that you find is often overlooked by a typical broker or advisor?
Well, really, it's just the strategy. Is probably the best way to say it. Which pot of money do you take when? How do you lower that lifetime taxes? Because again, it's not about saving taxes this year. It's that's a lot of times, especially accountants, you see a lot of tax people say, "Oh, defer, defer, defer." Well, then once you hit 73. And you go from a 10 or 12% bracket to 24% or maybe 32% bracket. I mean, that's just, ridiculous. So, you want to level out that tax. You don't have that tax go from here to way up here and then, having to catch up. So, that's one of the most critical things, I think, is just really having the strategy of which dollars to take when and how much, and, making sure that it all works and make sure that money lasts, because always the number one fear of people is running out of money. So that's I think the biggest thing is just having that personalized income plan. And again, you mentioned setting up a time to talk with us, and so that's one of the easiest ways to get that plan. We can have that first meeting. If it makes sense to go to the next meeting, we don't even charge for that, and we'll actually show you where your plan's headed right now. So if you want to take advantage of that, all you have to do is text the word visit to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word visit 800-454-1184, or click the link below and book online.
All right, more to come with Eric. This is Wealth Creator Radio. Stick around for more.